Hello viewers, you're welcome to SaharaTV live out of New York City. Today we are back after a week's break, and you can rest assured that a lot is coming up in Nigeria and discussing the politics of 2015. That is the year that Nigeria will be having the next general election. It's already heating up and it's just December 2013. A few days ago, one of the critics of President Goodluck Jonathan, Dr. Junaid Mohammed, was arrested and it's now been released, and we want to talk to him and find out why he was arrested and the things that he has said in the past, if he can reconfirm that he said those things that led to his arrest. So I have on the line from Nigeria, Dr. Junaid Mohammed. He used to be chairman House Committee on International Relations during the Second Republic. He is a medical doctor. He wants to talk to us about what he thinks is going to happen in 2015, and why he thought the State Security Services had him invited over to discuss some of his views. Hello, Dr. Junaid.
How are you, sir?
You're welcome to Sahara Reporters and SaharaTV live in New York City.
Thank you for having me, sir. I'm really honored.
All right. So first, it will be important to find out some of the statements you made. This very, very widely publicized interview you granted that there will be bloodshed in 2015 if a Northerner does not become the president of Nigeria. Is that what you said? And if that is what you said, why would you say that?
Well, first, I didn't say that. Let me tell you what I said, and perhaps, if you like, we can talk about the context.
Okay.
I said in the course of that interview, which I granted to the Sun on Sunday, one of the national newspapers, that first and foremost, Goodluck did not win the election in 2011, and had been warning before 2011 that the only way we can safeguard democracy in Nigeria is to have credible elections, free and fair.
Okay.
And I said, if the elections are not free and fair, there would be problems, very serious problems. Now, the election of 2011 was not free and was not fair. And I have it on authority of the man who conducted the election, Professor Jega, that there have been very serious lapses in the course of conducting that election. Laws were violated because the election was not conducted in accordance with the Constitution and the electoral law. And then in places like Kaduna, there was mass killing of people, little children who were doing nothing more than burning tires on the street to indicate their own disappointment with the way the election was being conducted. And of course, they moved along. The election was supposed to be staggered along 7-day cycles. In the end, INEC under Jega could not maintain even that.
Let's reverse quickly. You mentioned that you have it on authority from Jega, that is the chairman of INEC, Tahiru Jega, that the election in 2011 is not credible. You're saying that Jega told you.
No, hold on. He said there are so many lapses.
Yes.
And he didn't tell me this. It was in the public domain.
Okay.
It was all over the papers. He admitted there are very serious mistakes.
Okay.
Especially when first, during the registration stage, they had to postpone the registration exercise 3 times. Okay. And you know, in a democracy, if you don't have credible electoral register, there will be no democracy. There will be no election. In addition to that, in the conduct of the elections, the machines and the technology they imported at the cost of billions of naira failed woefully. And anybody who had been living in Nigeria, not in outer space, would have known that anything that was going to be dependent on regular supply of electricity wasn't going to work in Nigeria, because there is simply no electrical supply in the country. In addition, some of the machines were second rate. Their performance was not guaranteed. Certain people were given contract from the presidency to supply these machines. They did not supply them in time, and the whole thing became a problem. So you can see there are so many other reasons. But let me tell you.
Yes.
I said, if the election, because it was more of a low risk election compared to what we're preparing for in 2015. But I said, I have no problem with changing the government in a free, fair, and credible election if indeed the people of the country are given the time, because I have no doubt in my mind the PDP did not win the last election, and in fact from 1999 was Obasanjo to date. There has never been a credible election in Nigeria. Some foreign centric, especially some observers from the United States, who come here with their mind made up, and they are speaking the minds of their own government and their own economic interests in Nigeria. Have been making noise about how credible the election of 2011 was. It wasn't credible. In fact, the Obasanjo election of 1999 was more credible than the one of 2011. But that as it may, the issue which is fundamental is, I believe if there are going to be a credible election, good luck will not win that election. And if there is an attempt to rig the election the way previous elections were rigged, there will be violence. And I said, I am not the one who will instigate the violence. I believe Nigerians have had enough. We have had enough of failed governments. We have had enough of corruption. Already Nigeria has gone 20 points down in the corruption ladder according to Transparency International. And I don't know what credit this man can claim to have brought into the governance of Nigeria, because if you are going into an election for a second time, not the first time, then your election will be like a referendum on you, or a plebiscite.
Yes, yes, Dr. Junaid, yes, Dr. Junaid, because I understand that you actually had to go into your car to talk to us, charging your phone. Exactly. So we want to do this as quickly as possible before you lose all your battery.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so you were arrested or invited by the SSS, I think, yesterday, according to reports, which we also published. What did they ask you, and how long was your stay there? What was the reason for inviting you? If this is what you said, why were they inviting you over to their office? Hello? Hello, doctor? Hello, I can't hear.
Really, they wanted to talk to me.
Yes.
They could have invited me while I was in Abuja so that they could talk to me. Instead, they wanted to go into some kind of funny, petty harassment. They tailed me all the way from Maitama in Abuja to Kaduna, where I stopped at Arewa House for a discussion with the director, and up to Kano. When I arrived Kano, I just found out of nowhere some boys coming to surround me. What is the matter? Oh, look, the director is inviting you to come for a meeting, to come for a chat. I said, okay, do you want me to come with you, or do I come with my car? Then I think they had a wink, and they said, okay, the others should go, but the senior of them will come in the car with me. We drove to see the director, and I waited for about half an hour before he finished with another guest. Then I went in. Then they told me, well, they were inviting me on account of an interview I granted to the Sun on, which was, I think, published previous Sunday, last Sunday.
Yes.
And I remember granting that interview, but I also granted other interviews. And honestly, I haven't seen a copy of the paper, because sometimes some of the papers published in Abuja and Lagos arrive Kano a day after. So I said, if you let me have a look at what I said, okay, but I remember the salient points, and I'm prepared to stand by them. They said, well, they have a copy, but they cannot give me the copy to read. I said, okay, you want me to react on the basis of what you say and take your confidence? They said yes. I said, go ahead. So they read sections to me. The first section was that I said, if Jonathan wins the election of 2015, there will be bloodshed. I said, look, that is not what I said, but the issue is not important since I gave the interview. I said, the only way there can be a peaceful election is there can be peace in this country is if we have credible elections. And I believe Goodluck will not be able to win an election based on his performance. And I have no doubt about that, and I have nothing to retract. He will not be able to win an election because he has been a very bad president. And he has not served anybody's purpose except his tribal group and the cabal around him, mostly Ijo and a few Igbo elites. And these are people who cannot deliver even their own home states. And I say, if you want to discuss politics with me, I can take the whole country and tell you why this man will not win an election. The combination of the Northwest and the Southwest is a very deadly combination for him. The Northwest has about 38 million. I think the Southwest about approaching 30 million. This combination of people, and they are going to vote en masse against him for whoever is the APC candidate. I don't see how he's going to win the election. If, however, in spite of that, INEC, the security services, the police and the SSS and the military decide to rig the election in Goodluck Jonathan's favor, the people may not take it. And that has been my position, and it remains unchanged.
So did they let you go after that?
No, yeah, well, after that, then they talked to me, they said, I described him as Lincoln Poop. I said, well, that may be an unfortunate choice of word, not because I think otherwise, but because of the position. A president, after all, is a president. And I don't know. I said, in the course of the interview, there are areas where I thought I should tell, and I thought I told the journalist who was interviewing me on telephone that, look, certain things I said were off record. But if one or two slip into the on record, it's not that because I said they're off record because they are lies. It is because it was my feeling. But I wouldn't want to be seen as being, doubly irresponsible by calling a president of the country, even though I have very serious objections to being a president and what have you. And then one young man in the office said, this is the most criticized president. I even mentioned your paper and your group. You say you are against him. You are the kind of people who go and put everything on the internet, blah, blah, blah. This man is a nice person. If I got to know him, so I said, my friend, shut up. One, I employed Goodluck in Ompadek. He started with us as Assistant Director Ecology.
Wow, when was that?
That was 1992, 93.
So you employed Goodluck Jonathan to work at Ompadek, yes, when you were there?
Yeah, when I was there. The chairman, who is a Kalabari and Jones are actually one and the same thing. Albert Horsford, who used to be the Director General of the SSS before he retired and was given that job in which is now called NDDC. He said he didn't want to employ Jonathan because he has his own brother he wanted to employ. And I challenged him by saying that you have already employed your two brothers, Professor Tene Horsford and one Wakama Horsford, from the same father, from the same compound, as your special assistant on grade level 17 each, the rank of a permanent secretary in civil service. This man comes from an area which is educational disadvantaged. The Ijos, on the whole, are educational disadvantaged people, and they have not been well served in Ompadek then. And I said, I am not going to allow that. We had an argument. We went to the board of with our colleagues, the commissioners, and I presented my argument, and they supported me against the chairman. That's how he was employed. He knows about it. So I said, you cannot tell me I hate them. It's not a question of hating. It's a question of hating his performance. He has not performed well.
So when he was at Ompadek, how was his performance?
Yeah. Well, look, I don't want to go into detail because I had access to his own, what do you call it?
But don't you think it's important going by what you know and where we are now? Maybe you would have saved this country some of these things if you had told us about his performance at...
Listen. He was an assistant director ecology.
Yeah.
Normally, he had no direct access to me as a commissioner.
Yes.
You understand me? He had to go his director or deputy director. That's number one. Number two, we had what we call active departments or directorates. For example, I was in charge of business and commercial transactions. There was somebody in finance. Then because of infrastructure, there are people in charge of works, and what have you. He was not directly working under me, but he knew the role I played. In fact, he sent even a delegation of his chiefs, his Joe chiefs, to come and thank me and on account of his, and another young man who died called Joe. He's from Oloibri. They sent their chiefs to come and thank me for the role I played in getting them employed. Now, only last month, the president sent Raymond Dokpesi, who is the chairman of AIT and DAR Communications. You know Raymond Dokpesi?
Yes, I know Dokpesi, yes. Yeah.
So Dokpesi came here. He wanted to see me. He couldn't see me. He went back to Abuja. He told the president that he had seen the others he was asked to see. But he did not see me. So the president told him, look, Dr. Junaid was my boss. You have to go back to Kano and see him. Then he told the president that he was about traveling to Moscow the following day. He said, no, cancel the Moscow to go back and see Dr. Junaid. He came back here, saw me, and told me what transpired between him and the president. Dr. Pesci is alive. He can confirm that story for you. So you can see we had a history coming, to this moment. But the people in the SSS are people who like to do better than what have you, because most of them...
Like eye service.
Eye service, exactly. You are more royal than the king. And the director of the SSS has been making noises within the SSS, within the security establishment, that he has to have me arrested. His reasons were, one, that I have not been helpful to this government. Secondly, that this government is a result of what he calls a strategic alliance between Ijos and some elements of Igbo. So this is their turn. Anybody who is trying to disarm, they will deal with him. On 3 occasions in about 1 year. So I wasn't surprised when these boys, you can see they are acting on orders from Abuja, but I knew the nature of the orders. I knew the personalities behind it, so I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. Let me ask you quickly, Doctor. Let me ask you quickly, Doctor. What's your position on zoning? Because this is not the first time you're granting an interview that you want power to return to the north. I mean, is it your position?
I have never. Look, oh my God. I denied that categorically, and I challenge those who said I supported the idea of power coming to the north. I said no. I had said in the past that zoning and rotation is fundamentally undemocratic. That even though Northerners made the mistake by handing over power to Obasanjo, who turned out to be a disgraceful and very treacherous person, but it was a mistake nonetheless, because you do not have power, you do not hand over power on a plate. You go and seize power and use it. And I said, in a democracy, the only way you can seize power is by being elected. If the North cannot produce a candidate to contest for the election, and I have always believed and still believe the North can contest the election, they do not have to go through the rigmarole of zoning and rotation. And I still say it, and I've been opposed to the idea of zoning from 1978 during the Constitutional Assembly, and during the Shagari administration when I was in Parliament. You know, and I was the leader of the PRP in Parliament. About 58 of us who are members of the PRP and 7 senators. I have always opposed it. I've been consistent that this thing doesn't make sense. It may lead to the breakup of the country. And I said, there is no country in the world where this zoning rotation was tried and succeeded. Yugoslavia was a classical example. It was destroyed by this system of zoning and rotation after the death of General Tito. So I've never claimed even to speak for the North.
When you said just now, Doctor, you said just now that the Northerners made a mistake handing over power to Obasanjo.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the way Northerners, quote unquote, I mean, people from your section of the country, ran the country in the last 30 years under military rule? Are you satisfied?
Far from it. Not only the 13 years under military rule, I was dissatisfied and disgusted with the performance of Shagari as a president from 1979 to 1984. Far from it. And if you know my history, and I wish you would find time, I have never been a member of the dominant party in the North. My father was...
So you are from the Aminu Kano Talakawa party, okay? So, Doctor, let's go quickly now, like, again, because of time also on our part. What do you think about the national conference that Goodluck Jonathan is planning to set up? What do you think about it?
It's a bloody waste of time. It will not solve any of our national problems. I don't believe a national conference will solve the problem of corruption in Nigeria. Governmental incompetence.
Do you believe, though, that Nigeria will continue as a single entity in view of these fractures? You know, you have Boko Haram in the north. People in the south are threatening, Asari Dokubo saying if Jonathan doesn't win in 2015, we're going to take down this country, we'll go our way. Do you believe that this country will continue to...
You see, during my stays in Port Harcourt from 1992 to 1996 as a federal commissioner for Ombudsman, I knew Asari Dokubo. Frankly speaking, it would be an insult for me to join issues with an illiterate. I don't do that. I am a man of culture and a man of education. A man who is a terrorist, who founded a terrorist organization, is another kind of person I would want to join issue with. That's number one. Number two, assuming somebody who is more responsible had issued the threat Asari Dokubo has issued. Well, what is wrong with issuing a threat? As long as those who are being threatened can do something about it. And all of us collectively can come together and make sure that we do not provide room to allow ourselves to be threatened. But as an individual, I refuse to be threatened, to be fazed or intimidated. And I continue to speak up my mind, no matter what the politicized police or SSS does or thinks about it. And I know what I say may not please everybody, but that is the beauty of democracy.
Yes.
You cannot...
Final word, Doctor, sorry, we're running out of time here, is in 2015, if you were to select a candidate to run Nigeria amongst some of the characters that are going around now, who would you go with? I heard you don't even like the APC.
No, no, no. That is also not true. That is not true. Tinubu is a friend of mine, but the reality of Nigeria, a lot of water has passed under the bridge.
Yeah.
I don't see how it is possible to have Tinubu emerge as the presidential candidate. Buhari is a personal friend of mine, but I believe age is against Buhari, and also there are certain health factors. As a doctor, I'm conscious of that. Because when you're a leader of a country, everything else matters. Yes. Now that Goodluck is a route in Germany, the whole government is going to grant a halt, or the presidency is going to grant a halt. At the moment, I don't have a candidate, but I will have a candidate because it will be sad if out of 160 million people, we don't have a credible candidate. In fact, series of candidates, because we have enough educated people among members of the elite. But let me tell you, whoever emerges as a candidate in the APC, they have to learn to run a collective leadership style.
Yeah.
Nobody should be allowed to exercise power, especially the powers of the president, powerful president like Nigeria, who with powers vested in the Constitution and allowed to take the political liberties of all our rights and our liberties. That must not happen, and APC has a chance, as far as I'm concerned, to produce a president that is a product of collective leadership and that will function as a collective leader, not just an individual playing solo with the destiny of our country. And that is my conviction. And I believe quite a number of people in APC already, and some of the people who may join, the Democrats enough to realize that that is the only way you can go about governing Nigeria.
Yes. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on our show on SaharaTV. And as I told you before we started the show, we would like to have you more and more on the show as we approach 2015 and beyond. Have a pleasant Saturday, and we hope to talk to you again.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, viewers, that's been Dr. Junaid Mohammed, who was arrested yesterday by the State Security Service, the secret police in Nigeria, for criticizing President Goodluck Jonathan relating to 2015 elections. So we'll be back with more programming on our show today on Saturday. Do not go away.